I'm back. I was only restricted for one day. Thank goodness. Thank the YouTube overlords for letting me back on here. I'm going to do my best to get some music rolling to start this off. See how hard that is. Oh, it won't keep running. That's a little tough, man. Let's see what we can do here. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. Okay. All right, then. It's hard, man. How do y'all play music while you do this? I might have to get a separate device. All right. No music today, then. Unfortunately. I'm not going to waste time or blow the damn stream over it. You know what I mean? Get my frame right. Okay. I'll have music by next time. How about that? Welcome, welcome. I'm live again. I'm back. I will not break any of the rules that YouTube has set forth. Welcome, welcome. It is me. Hope everybody's feeling good. Whoever joins, if you just want to say hello in the chat, that way I know who it is. That would be excellent. If not, no worries. It's all good. Hello, Whitney. Thank you for being here. It's good to be back. Today I got green tea in the cup. Welcome, welcome. I'll give folks a little bit to join. I'll see if anybody hops in. It's a beautiful day. In the meantime, if you have any questions, anything you want to ask me, when I go live, it's an open Q&A, so you can ask me whatever you want, and I will do my best to answer. I usually have a topic lined up, but I will pause the topic to speak to whatever questions I get. All right? Okay. Thank you for liking the video. I appreciate it. It always makes me very happy when the same number of viewers I have is the same number of likes on my video. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Helps me reach more people. Helps out my page and my videos. Give it another moment or two. We'll enjoy this beautiful day. We got some birds chirping, right? I'll sip my green tea. I'll see if anybody else wants to hop in. If not, no worries. Just hang out for a minute. This is normally when I play a little music, but I'm still figuring out how to do that. So if anybody knows how to play music while you do a YouTube video, please give me the tip. If not, after today's, I'm probably going to figure it out because I'm sick of not being able to. When I watch videos, some of my favorite creators will start their videos out with a little bit of music. I like that. So we'll see. What's my favorite song? That's a good question. My number one favorite song is probably the song Let Yourself Be Huge by a band called Cloud Kicker. That's what came to mind because I do believe it is a perfect song, beginning to end. There's not many songs that are perfect, but I think that's a perfect song. So that's a very good question. I'm sure that might change by the moment or by the hour, but the first thing that popped into my head was the song Let Yourself Be Huge by Cloud Kicker. So that'll be my answer for that one. Thank you for the question. That's a good question. Challenged me. Welcome to the viewers. I appreciate the likes. Makes me very happy. I get the same number of likes as viewers. I think that's wonderful. That means a lot to me. Thank you for being here. I'm glad I'm able to be live. I was shut down yesterday. I think I broke the rules, so that's on me. I try to live with a spirit of ownership. So every outcome or result that I get, I believe one way or another is on me. Because I'm the one that has to navigate that and learn how to do whatever I got to do with it. So yesterday I said or did something that caused my video to come down. So today I'm going to do my best not to do that again. So we'll see. Welcome, welcome. Hello. It's cool that people from Alaska are tuning in. Cheers back from Pennsylvania. Alaska sounds like a very cool place, man. I was watching some videos yesterday on bears, actually, and I noticed that the bear population in Alaska is very strong. I've never had a run-in with a bear, so sometimes I watch those videos and ask myself, man, what would I do if I came into contact with a bear? But the more you study the animal, the more reasonable they actually seem to be. They seem to be more reasonable than people sometimes. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you. I like that. I get what you mean. Censorship is a bit of an issue. I think on the one hand, there's the classic landlord issue where if somebody owns the house, like for example, YouTube owns this digital house, they can decide what the house rules are. Unfortunately, it may be a little restricted. There may be some things that I feel like I should be allowed to do that I'm not, but at the end of the day, I'm in their house, so I do kind of have to follow their rules and pay their taxes, so to speak. I do love the concept of free speech, but I've noticed that free speech is very expensive. Sometimes it comes at a big fee to say and do what you really want to say. I'll be honest, I had some books out on Amazon, and my books were taken down, and now I am banned as an author on Amazon for the rest of my life. So part of me feels like whatever I was saying was pretty good if they had to book burn me like that. And part of me feels like maybe I just broke the rules and did something stupid. So we'll figure out what it is. You said, I haven't got a black berry yet this spring. Tasty this time of year. Really good in fall berry season. That's very interesting, man. That makes a whole lot of sense. I wonder if due to the weather, the hibernation seasons are a little different in Alaska than somewhere like Pennsylvania. I know over here in Pennsylvania, we do have a healthy black bear population. I think there's about 20,000, if I'm not mistaken, black bears in the state that are recorded. But that's very interesting, man. One thing I think is cool about black bears is that they can eat whatever. They'll eat meat. They'll eat fruit. They'll eat veggies. They'll eat, all kinds of different stuff and metabolize it. I think that's interesting. It reminds me of the human a little bit. But bears are a cool animal, man. They get so big and so strong. I can't imagine going toe to toe with a bear. That's some serious wildlife right there, man. But I think it would be very cool to find some harmony or some coexistence with a bear. And as much as I don't really love the idea of killing one, I can imagine that bear hunting creates quite a bit of meat and food for a long time. You call them albino polar. That makes sense, man. That's the opposite. That makes a whole lot of sense. Polar bears are vicious from what I can see. But I'll tell you a quick story that's actually a little interesting. When I was at military school, the chemistry teacher, he was a pretty cool guy. He had a wolf dog hybrid. Hello, King Jagan. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you were able to find the channel. The story I was telling is that when I was at military school, the chemistry teacher, he was a cool guy. He had this wolf dog hybrid, and he was really into nature. And he told us this story about how sometimes they would go bear hunting. And before they would kill the bear, they would really get the bear very riled up. And rather than a surprise kill. And what they would do is they would kill the bear, make sure that the adrenaline released throughout all the meat. And then the way that they would capture and preserve the bear, they would create this bear jerky that when they would eat it, it would be like an energy drink because they would get the bear adrenaline in the snack, which sounds kind of crazy. That makes a lot of sense. I imagine with Alaskan culture, you got to do what you got to do, but at the same time, you're not wasting, you're not disrespecting the animal. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. I eat meat, and right now somebody else does all the dirty work, and it's probably a wasteful process. So I'd imagine it's better to do it a little in tune with nature. But that story about the bear and the adrenaline and the jerky reminds me, when I was doing a little research, I noticed that certain animals, like the Komodo dragon, for example, likes to eat its prey living. It won't kill the prey before they eat it. And they'll start in the hind legs and work their way forwards. You can find on YouTube videos of baboons doing the same thing, where they'll eat, a brand new fawn or something like that. And rather than kill the animal before they eat it, they'll actually let the animal stay alive and eat it from the hindquarters forward. Welcome to anybody who hopped in. And I think one theory about why they do that is because it creates more adrenaline release, and there's an intoxication effect where the more adrenaline releasing while you eat the meat, that adrenaline enters your own bloodstream, and you get the impact from that. But I think as somebody who's on a sobriety journey, I hear you. As somebody who's on a sobriety journey, I would also personally rather mitigate the suffering of the animal and maybe miss out on that drug, as you can call it, and kind of have that ethical side where you're not prolonging the suffering of your food. Because I think the same way that adrenaline might be in it, that pain and that suffering is going to be present in the meal somehow. You're going to internalize that. Somehow karma finds a way to charge you for that. There's a tax. So I personally do agree with that, where if I was out there wheeling and dealing, I like to think that I would kill as fast as I could before eating, because that's the most, humane, quote unquote. Which I think that's a funny word, because humans oftentimes aren't so humane, but like my friend from Alaska here, some of us also do take the humane route. So I think that is, that's a case-by-case basis with human beings. But you said your moose season for hunting is a joke. I wait till winter or freezing weather to harvest moose. That makes sense. That's a big animal, man. You get a kill like that, I imagine that feeds you for a long time. I remember that. I imagine that's an abundance of food. I remember my uncle one time, he killed an elk, and my family was probably eating that meat for 2 or 3 years straight, man. That was like a 600-pound elk, and that was a lot of meat. That fed us for a long time. That filled a lot of freezers, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool. If you are going to eat meat, I see no problem with killing it yourself. It's just the circle of life. But I'll jump to it. I've taken enough time to wind up. Today's video, the topic is why men should get manicures. Now, I think this is the topic that some people might disagree with, but the reason why I think men should get manicures and why I, as a man, have enjoyed getting manicures is the same reason why I like to take a shower, the same reason I like to get a haircut, the same reason I like to clean my ears with Q-tips. It's, the clean feeling that you get from grooming yourself properly. Oh, I get what you mean. You can feed a lot of people with the right kill, man. You really can. That's a cool thing to do and be a part of. That's a good neighbor. Absolutely. It's a good family experience. You get clothing, you get all kinds of stuff. I think that's very cool. But as far as the manicures go, I do think that one possible benefit that I've noticed is I used to bite my nails a lot. My whole life, I bit my nails. And when I was younger, I remember what my parents would do is they would put hot sauce on my fingers. And then that's kind of how I developed a taste for hot sauce. Rather than stop biting my nails, I would just have a nice buffalo nail snack. You know what I mean? It wasn't really a deterrent for me. But the best way I noticed for me to stop biting my nails, other than just strict discipline, is getting a manicure. If my nails are cleanly manicured, there's really no reason for me to bite them. I find a lot less time sitting there biting them. You know what I mean? I don't really, I don't like that feeling of being dirty. You know what I mean? As possible when you can avoid it. The same way that when you walk out of the dentist's office with a fresh cleaning, if you've never gotten a manicure before, even if you keep them short, you just get them clipped and you just get a little clear coat or something, right? You don't have to get a long painted, you don't have to do all that. If you go get a manicure, you'll come out of there feeling a type of cleanness that you might not have felt before. And it's a really nice aspect of self-care. I enjoy that a lot. I noticed you said you're doing your sauna house tonight. I respect that, man. I'm going to hit the sauna a little bit later, too. I try to hit it once a day. That or the hot tub. Get a little heat in. I still haven't done much with the cold, but I do like to get the heat in for sure. Nail biting is something, though, that I was kind of struggling with my whole life. And it's something that I wanted to get ahead of and beat because it felt like a challenge for me to be able to stop doing that. You know what I mean? And one of the best ways for me to not bite my nails is keeping my nails manicured. Absolutely. You asked, do I have an experience with prolonged fasting? I have fasted a little bit before, but I'll be honest with you. I started out my weightlifting physique journey at about 103 pounds. So because I was like 18 years old, a grown man, 103 pounds. And I was so light that I really don't enjoy skipping meals or not eating, because part of me is maybe a little afraid that I'll go back to that, right? So I played around with some intermittent fasting because I don't like to prescribe things that I've never tried before. And I'll just be 1,000% honest with you. When I was intermittent fasting, it felt lazy to me. It felt lazy. It felt like skipping meals. And then when I did eat, the meals were so large, it felt a little bit like gorging myself. I noticed my stomach will get real big from the food I would cram in there. It wasn't keeping my waist tight. I have a 28-inch waist, and it's very important to me that the more weight I put on, I keep my waist as slim as possible. I think that's a very aesthetic thing. So I've noticed that what's better for me than not eating and then eating these large refeed type meals is to kind of more eat smaller quantities throughout the day. So if you're a human being, you're going to be sleeping for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours every night. And that meal afterwards is called breakfast, breakfast. And I personally believe that that's enough fasting for a human being. I don't need to go another 4, 5, 6, 8 hours after my nightly fast to then go fast again personally. Now, if I came from the heavier side, if I came from the fatter side, and if that was something that I struggled with rather than coming from the thinner side, I can see how something like fasting is a very powerful tool for people. I'll be honest with you. Thank you for the people who have liked this video. I appreciate that. That helps me reach more people. I do appreciate that. But as far as fasting goes, me personally, I don't like to do it because it feels like going backwards for me, because it's taken a lot of effort for me to crank my appetite up and eat a lot. But I have seen it work for people. Like a buddy of mine, he lost a lot of fat. And part of the ways that he did that was a good bit of fasting. Now, I don't think it's a good idea to just eat nothing. I think you should have some tea, some fruit, just a little something, which maybe that's technically not fasting, but I think it's not a good idea to let your body go short on nutrients, even if you're just eating vegetables or something that doesn't really hold a lot of calories. It might be a good idea to fast from sugars, fast from meats, fast from specific things. I don't think that's a problem. But I do think it's a good idea to just keep a little something going. Obviously, if you're on the heavier side, it might be better to do more activity and have less food going in. But I'm a big fan of momentum and habit building. Thank you for whoever liked this video. So what I don't want to build is the habit and the routine of fasting, because me personally, I would like to keep that weight on, but I've also noticed that there's a thing called metabolic momentum. So you have to picture your metabolism is like a car in neutral, right? Or a vehicle in neutral, where if you want to get it moving, you've got to get it cranked up from a stop. And then once it's moving, it's easier to accelerate it and speed it up. And I do think that when you fast, your metabolism will grind to a halt sooner or later. I'd like to reference sumo wrestlers, some of the best bulkers alive. Now, when I studied gaining weight, of course I studied sumo. These guys are monsters, man, and they're athletes. So, as far as gaining weight, they've mastered the science. Now, the way a sumo wrestler eats, 2 meals. Each of them are 10,000 calories. They'll eat a meal. Right afterwards, they will sleep to lock that food in, and then they'll wake up. Exactly. And then they'll wake up and they'll train. And then they'll eat, and then they'll sleep right afterwards to lock that food in. So I think it's a good idea to not fast too much, especially if you have just slept for 8, 9, 10 hours. You know what I mean? Now, it's a good idea not to become enormous. It's a good idea not to become too small either. I think the balance lies in the middle point. But the truth of the matter is, most of us have goals. Most of us have a picture in our mind of what we'd like to look like. if somebody grew up a little bit on the bigger side, they might like to see themselves real lean, real thin. You know what I mean? And somebody like me, who woke up one day, 18, 19 years old, 103 pounds, trying to be a grown man, I'd like to see how big I can get while staying healthy. You know what I mean? I'd like to see how much muscle I can put on while I keep my 28-inch waist, while I keep my veins, while I keep the lines and certain aspects like that. We can't adjust our height. We can't adjust certain genetic factors. But you have full control as an adult over your body weight. What's up, Perpetual? How's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for those who liked the video. I apologize, whoever was tuned in yesterday when the video was taken down. I'm still learning the rules here. I'm going to do my best to not break them. In the cup today is green tea. I like green tea a lot. I notice caffeine, a little bit of it doesn't hurt. I was very militant my first 5 or 6 weeks when I was sober. I didn't want anything to enter my body that would change how I think or feel. But I'm starting to become comfortable taking a non-stimulant pre-workout before the gym again. I'm starting to become comfortable with a little green tea. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's all good. It is what it is. I think it's because I showed my firearm, so I won't do that again. You know, I'll do my best to follow the rules. You know, I won't make a joke about these guns, but at the end of the day, I think it's a good idea. You see my cat in the background there? Yeah, it's funny. That's my man. I do think it's a good idea to keep your food sources clean. Exactly like you're saying. Heavily processed foods will make you feel not so good. I notice a little bit every once in a while is okay. And for somebody like me who would like to gain weight, a quote-unquote dirty meal every once in a while is going to help you pack them pounds on and keep the size going. But like you said, long term, if we're looking at heart health, if we're looking at brain health, GI health, these are factors that clean, unprocessed foods, they're going to go a long way. Absolutely. I do think for a lot of different foods, if you can eat organic, that's not going to be a bad thing. You want to wash the pesticides off of your fruits and vegetables, stuff like that is a good move. Absolutely. If you're in a situation like maybe my friend in Alaska where you get to source some of your own food, or you know where it really comes from, if it's local, that's a good idea, man. That's a good idea. The more you know, the better. I'll tell another quick story about when I used to work in a warehouse. I think it's very important to think about where what you're consuming or what you have comes from. I worked in a warehouse and it was pretty dirty, man. There was a lot of mice, there was a lot of rats, there was a lot of bugs, there was a lot of those things. And at the time, we sold really high-end apparel. So I realized that a lot of those customers, once they received their high-end, $1,000 jacket, whatever it was, they might not realize that 2 days ago, a rat was walking across that thing. So when they open up the packaging and they take their jacket out of it, they might not wash their hands afterwards, right? So I think, thank you for those who like the video. When my viewers add up with my likes, that makes me really happy. That makes me feel like I'm doing something good. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, working in that warehouse, that taught me a lot also about food. Because the same thing is if you don't really think about where what you're eating is coming from, you might not know what you're consuming. And I'll take that a step farther. One of my favorite physique sculptors of all time, his name is Frank Zane. Phenomenal bodybuilder. I think he's a great man. I really respect him a lot. He talks about how a thought or a concept or a piece of art that you consume has the same impact as a chemical. It can be a poison. That's not something you want. A friend said he's building a greenhouse. That's really cool, man. That sounds really cool. That sounds like an awesome initiative to really take control and grow your own food and know where it's coming from. I personally have been thinking about maybe moving out of the state of Pennsylvania. I love my state. I love the gun laws. I love the history. But the only thing that I think I'm a little bothered by is when you look it up, the air and the water here isn't necessarily as clean as it is in some other places. And the farther I get into fitness and health, I notice that some of the most important things are where you get your water from that you drink and where you get your air from that you breathe. And these factors are really going to affect your health quite a bit. So I'll be honest with you, right up the street from where I live is a place where they burn trash. And I see the smoke coming out of that place all day, every day. And part of me wonders, man, should I get the hell out of here? Is it a problem for me and my cats and my loved one to be breathing that air and drinking that water? And I feel like if I can, I'm going to make a move. I'll have my eyes set on Vermont or Canada, or like my friend said, Alaska. These places seem very cool to me. I'll be honest, maybe I'm being a little bit naive. Maybe the lifestyle there, maybe the weather there, I wouldn't be able to handle, right? But part of me feels like I might want to try. I think it could be cool. I don't think moving closer to a natural state is going to be a bad thing for me. I personally am a little antisocial. I don't really like crowds of people. I'm not a huge fan of the industrial aspect sometimes, so I think maybe going out somewhere that's considered to be a little more rural could be good for me personally. But also just in terms of health and healing, you know, if I want to start a family one day, the types of air and water and food that flows through them, I think is very important. But for any new viewers who would like me to speak on what the title and the thumbnail is on, I'll just say again that the reason why, oh, real quick, I'll read, my friend said that I'm welcome to move out. I appreciate that, man. That spirit is really cool. If I can move out to Alaska and interact with people like you, I think I would like to do that, honestly. I probably wouldn't be able to dress like this year round, but who knows, man? I'm sure there's a way to heat the home, right? I'll have to look into it. I bet I might have to layer up when I go outside a little more. I will look into the Kenai Peninsula. I really appreciate that. Hopefully I pronounced that properly. But hey, man, I'm open to ideas. I'm open to checking it out. I love my home here, but, you know, I was born not far from here, so I don't think it would be a bad idea to bop around a little bit and see some cool things out there. I really appreciate that. But it would definitely be good to know somebody and not be going in blind. But we'll see. You know, those are ideas. We'll see where things take me. I'll be honest with you, as much as I believe we need to try and deploy and act like we have it, I don't know how much I believe in the concept of free will. So if things are predetermined, we will see where I go, where I'm sent by the spirits that determine that. But I'll still do my best to maybe put in a request, right? And I would just like to be somewhere that feels health-centric, somewhere where the air and the water feels pure, and maybe the spirit in the air is more positive and healthy, you know? But it is what it is. You know, I like the idea of a community that's close-knit. I do my best to get along with my neighbors. If I saw something weird going on in my neighborhood, I jump out there and handle it. I don't even really like when people rip their cars through the neighborhood real fast, knowing that there's kids and animals around. So it's like, I think I would like that kind of community spirit quite a bit. There are members of my family that I'm very close with. There are also members of my family, you know, we share the same last name. And that's the only thing we'll ever share ever again, if you know what I mean. So I'm also open to new family members that aren't necessarily blood related. And my family that I am close with, I would like to have a location to invite them out to. I think that would be cool, that maybe they don't have access to right now. So I would like to get out to maybe Vermont, Canada, Alaska. Those places sound really cool, man. But just to touch on again the title and the thumbnail, why men should get manicures. It's the same reason why men should take showers, why men should clean their ears and brush their teeth. I'll be honest with you, there's no better feeling than when you walk out of there with clean fingernails, man. It's a cool concept. It feels good. I'll be honest with you. You only have to go once every couple weeks. I don't mind it. I know that I walk in there and sometimes people look at me like I'm a little crazy or like there's a problem. But I don't really mind being different. I don't really mind doing what I do. And I really enjoy getting manicures. So that's something that I'm really big on. I do think it's time for me to cut this nail in particular. I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you why. The two things that really popped up that get in the way a little bit are when I play basketball and when I shoot my pistol. The grip that I'd like to use on my pistol, the nail's starting to get in the way a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is probably cut this nail and then maybe grow out a pinky or something just a little bit, or maybe just say goodbye to the big black nail. But I've had it for maybe a year and a half now. I've been enjoying it. It's something I did. So I do plan on getting manicures. That's a good move with the feet. I've never got a pedicure. I should probably get one of those and try it out, honestly. Or do a little soak or something. When I was real young, like maybe 10 years old, I used to get these ingrown toenails. And they used to get real infected, man. They hurt a lot. And I remember I would soak my feet in, I think, iodine. And I would do that while I played video games. And one time I dropped the controller in. I broke, maybe more than once, I broke a couple controllers dropping them in with a soak. So maybe I should try something like that, man. Speaking of magnesium, one of my favorite supplements, I don't take a whole lot of supplements, but one of my favorite supplements is taking magnesium before bed. I think men especially deplete a lot of magnesium during the day. I don't think it's a bad idea for women either, but I know for a fact that especially zinc and magnesium, a man depletes a lot of that throughout the day, especially if he's working hard and if it's stressful. So when I take some magnesium before bed, I notice a very strong calming effect. And that helps me sleep a lot, and I think it affects how well I sleep as well. So that is one of my favorite supplements, but that's the answer to that question about the manicure and the nails. That's my own plan, is the next time I go in there and I see my girl Kelly, I'm probably going to get this cut, and then I'm going to go back down to the clear because I'd like to play a little more basketball, and I'm getting more into pistol shooting, and I'd like to really see how far I can push my accuracy and play with some different grips. So that's my plan there, but that's probably enough for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If there's any questions or comments before I go, the comment section is very open for those. So if there's anything you want to ask me or tell me, now's not a bad time. But if not, I'll probably wrap this up here today. And this should get posted in case anybody wants to see it again or jump in late or miss the beginning or the end or whatever. But I'm glad I wasn't restricted off live forever. I would like to thank YouTube for opening my privileges back up. And thank you all for being here. Prometheus out.